And say good afternoon, and hello to our online friends. I know you are joining us now, but Karen, get your crew out here so we can have everybody come out here. And we're going to do a little thank you to our campus catering. Come on out, team. Thank you for the beautiful lunch. So please go ahead and finish your salads, enjoy your desserts, unless you're one of those individuals that ate your dessert before your salad, so you made sure you had room for the good dessert. But we're going to get started. I'm honored to introduce someone who truly embodies the spirit of Women for Philanthropy. UND alumna, entrepreneur, coach, and philanthropist, Brianna Castillo. Brianna's journey is one of bold decisions, deep faith, and a relentless drive to serve others. After graduation, Brianna took a leap, moving to Dallas, Texas, without knowing a soul. That leap has turned into a legacy. Today, she leads one of the top producing real estate teams in the country, has been named to RE/MAX's top 1.5% of realtors in the United States, and has earned accolades like Dallas Top 500 and Women in Business Award. But Brianna's story isn't just about success. It is about significance. She's a coach and a mentor to other realtors, a speaker who shares her wisdom freely, and a philanthropist who, alongside her husband, Oscar, has set a bold goal, which we will talk about a little later in the program. It's such a joy to see Oscar here with their two daughters, Ava and Grace, cheering on their mom and representing President Armacost. I want you to we can do it right now, representing the new generation of alumni. I think we've got 2 scholarships here ready to come to Ava and Grace. What a fun and very special moment, and we're especially grateful to Brianna's entire family. Thank you so much for being here to support and celebrate this special occasion. Brianna and Oscar integrate philanthropy into every facet of their lives, raising 2 daughters to dream boldly, live generously, and define success by the difference they make in the lives of others. So now, please welcome Brianna Castillo to the stage. Welcome. Welcome home. It's good to see you. Have a chair right there. Aren't these pretty pink chairs? I just love these chairs. Cassie, what do you think? What do you think about the pink chairs? Cassie is our Miss Pink on campus, so this is fun. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, making the journey, bringing your family here. And we're going to just give everybody a little glimpse into your journey from when you left UND. No, even before you started at UND. How about that? So from Foston to UND to Dallas, and we're going to get to the give it all away mantra. So Brianna, why don't you just start by telling us what did bring you to UND and what were some of your most formative experiences here?
Great question. So there are really 2 main reasons that I came to UND. First is my mom. My mom graduated from UND in, I think you said 1984? 1984. And she actually was one of only 2 women at the time, and that might still be the case, in the mechanical engineering program. And so I was super inspired by her. And the second reason is because I thought that I wanted to be a commercial pilot. So of course, UND was just down the road, just over an hour from home, and I came to aviation camp even while I was in high school and fell in love with UND. So that's what brought me here.
Wonderful. So I know Dean Pat O'Neill is here, and we are thankful for those young people that come here and want to go into aviation, because a lot of them transfer over, don't they, to the College of Business? So yes. That's a common story. So.
Yes.
And how cool that your mom, 1984, and this is when I know I've been here a long time, because Mom and I were here on campus at the same time. So I was in Gamble Hall at that time, though. But So tell me more about your mom and her path in engineering and being one of two women. You know, how did her story influence you in your path?
Yeah, pretty greatly. So my mom has always been somebody that has, I'm gonna cry looking at her. I'm gonna not look at her, I'll just talk about her.
Okay. Don't look, no eye contact up here, Mom.
She's
No
like,
eye
why
contact.
are you talking about me right now? She has always empowered and encouraged me and said, you can do whatever you want to do. You want to go walk on the moon? Start by flying airplanes. You want to go live abroad somewhere, learn a new language and learn a skill, and it will get you there. You can do whatever you want to do. And so part of that is how I end up landing in the College of Business rather than aviation, because my parents really helped inspire and helped make sure that we were on the right path. And my brother and I did an aptitude test while we were in college, or while we were still in high school. And what we learned from that aptitude test is that I needed an environment with really high ideology where I would be really challenged every day with new things coming my way. And entrepreneurship and business was a really good fit for that. So that's how I landed in the College of Business.
I love that. Be challenged every day. Well, and I'm going to go back to what your mom said. You can do whatever you want to do. Those are great words, and you can do that in everything every day. I once had someone that said, when somebody asks you to do something new or try something new, start with yes. Start with yes, and you never know where that journey will take you. I also have to give a shout out to your brother, David.
Yes.
You know, David's the one that reached out to us and said, you need to meet my sister. You got to meet this sister. And so we thank him for getting us connected as well. So that's starting out wanting to be a pilot, go to the moon. Tell us more about how you did pivot to business and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is kind of scary, and there's a lot of unknowns in that. How did you make that pivot?
Yeah, great question. I remember when I announced, this was like the early days of Facebook, when you updated your Facebook status several times a day. And I wrote on my Facebook status that I now was going to study entrepreneurship. And my uncle commented, your brother, Mom, he commented and said, he's like, I didn't know that you could study being unemployed. And man, I am unemployable now. I am so grateful to embrace entrepreneurship and not be able to be employed by somebody else. But the aptitude test that we did really guided me and helped me sort of make some of those decisions. But I also grew up in a family of business owners. And my dad and my grandpa, Herman, taught me how to work incredibly hard and have work ethic from a very young age, and how to focus on growing a business. So that seedling was always inside of me as well. And so College of Business was a great spot for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, how did you transfer from Grand Forks, North Dakota, University of North Dakota, all the way to Dallas, Texas? What brought you south?
Yeah, another great question. So a couple of things. First of all, I studied marketing and entrepreneurship, okay? I loved everything about marketing. I've added entrepreneurship later in my college career. My freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, I was all on marketing, thought I wanted to do marketing research, and sales was the last part of marketing I had any interest in, right? I'm like, I love every part of marketing except for sales. Somebody else can do the sales. I'll just create something that they want to sell. And I remember having different internship opportunities for summer internships, and a lot of them were sales internships, and I just had zero interest in that. My first job that I chose out of college was, of course, sales, and now I will do nothing else. But when I graduated in 2010. And 2008 was a hard time in the marketplace while I was still a college student. And so graduating in 2010, a lot of the other students didn't have a lot of opportunities as they were graduating, and I was blessed to have 3 different options. One of them was right here at UND in the continuing education department. I was an intern a marketing intern for the continuing education department. But I chose the opportunity that would allow me to spread my wings the furthest and send me across the country to a place where I didn't know a soul for, of course, a sales job. Exactly what I thought I didn't want to do, but I wanted to stretch my wings and get out there and see what I could make of this world.
That's fantastic.
So
What did your parents say when you were like, I'm leaving the Midwest and going to Dallas, Texas?
They were in full support. Of course, they didn't hope I would stay there as I have. They thought it would be a short little journey and I might come back, but they were absolutely full support.
So you've got to tell us a little bit more about this sales that you were doing, and it wasn't just any normal sales job. You were working hard on that. Tell us a little bit more about sales and how did that the type of sales, and then how did that transition into real estate?
Great question. So what I moved to Dallas to sell was power tools, and yes. As I sit in this pink chair, my first real job was selling power tools. But I grew up in a family of business owners and specifically hardware stores. So I kind of grew up in a hardware store, and that was a very natural fit for me. The program, the first position was within a leadership development program, right? So a large corporation, I was selling Milwaukee Power Tools. And I was working for the company that owns Milwaukee Power Tools. And they put you into a few different roles, train you up, and my thought was I would move into more of a corporate marketing role, but I learned that sales was a really great fit for me because it's not what I thought it was. Mm-hmm. I thought that sales was being pushy and trying to convince people of why they needed something, and it's not that at all.
What is it?
Sales is built on relationships. It's all about making relationships with people, understanding who they are, what their needs are, and then solving problems for them. That's what sales is. And so when I learned that firsthand, I fell in love with it because it's natural, it's easy, and it's helping people.
Wonderful. And then, so where did real estate come in?
Where did real estate come in? So
did you sell something else right after power tools? It seems like you had another interesting one in there, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there were a few steps to get to where I am. First, I sold power tools. Then I was a recruiter. So I was kind of selling people and jobs. And then I decided that being entrepreneurial and not in a corporate sales role was a much better fit for me. So with the support of my husband, I did something I had never done in my life, and I quit something without having something else lined up. And I decided to teach myself photography. So I started a photography business and did that for about a year. It was going super well, but I have a cousin who was a RE/MAX agent in Minneapolis, and she recruited me and said, Brianna, please, this would be such a great fit. Oscar, of course, had told me I would be a great realtor from the day that he met me, but I also had a really nice paycheck and a company car and a company phone and didn't know how I would make such a leap. So a natural growth there into being completely entrepreneurial. And she was right. It was a really good fit.
That's fantastic. Your cousin knew you better than maybe you knew yourself at
Possibly.
that point.
Yep.
So you seem to do this where I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this. You do it, you fall in love with it, you're successful at it. You kind of had that situation meeting Oscar too, didn't you?
Yeah.
You weren't gonna get involved with dating anymore. You were out. What happened? This is really a sidebar. So this is inside information. I could say inside baseball.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 10 minutes before I met my husband, I was with my roommate and good friend, and I asked them to hold me accountable to not date for the next 5 years. So I could, I don't know if I had ever gone 5 months without dating. And I asked them to hold me accountable to not dating because it was a huge distraction and I needed to focus on my career. And man, yes, that lasted a good 10 minutes until I met Oscar.
I think Oscar must have been a pretty good salesman too.
Yeah, that could be the case. And yes, it was at a baseball game. He is a huge baseball fan and involved in baseball today. And so he loves when people ask where we met. The line he always says is, well, in the big inning.
Oh.
In the beginning. Baseball is biblical, he says. In the big inning. Boom, ching.
No, it's a good story. I like it. So, Brianna, you've built an incredibly successful business, and now you coach others to succeed while maintaining that work-life balance, which I know we all talk about it. We think about it. It can be very difficult in this day of technology and social media, and you're always on. I'm going to ask you a two-part question here because I'm just curious about something new. But first, this being a coach, because I've followed you on your social media, and you are an amazing coach and mentor. And sometimes that can be very difficult, and I'm going to say especially for us, because I too grew up in Northwest Minnesota on a family farm, so a lot like a family business where you just do the work and you get it done. And there's no expectation of accolades. But as a coach, as you're coaching young women, young realtors, you have to learn to give recognition and accolades as part of being a coach. Tell me a little bit about how you've learned to do that, or was it something that came naturally to you, and how has that helped you be a great mentor?
Great question, Deanna. I think that the accolade part of it comes pretty naturally to me. I think the way that I'm wired is I enjoy striving for things that will be accompanied with an accolade, right? I want to win, and winning often comes with a medal or a trophy or a title. And so I know how I feel when I've reached that, and I think it's really important to recognize others and to be able to freely share, and I think it helps inspire and bring people up. So I think that naturally I don't have a lot of a challenge with that.
Good. So David, did she always want to win in any games you guys were playing when you were growing up? Just curious. Absolutely. You were sacrificial at the beginning, right? So let's go back to that work-life balance, Brianna. So how do you, as you're being this amazing coach and mentor to so many, how do you talk to them and coach them through maintaining that work-life balance? What is it in your approach that sets you apart that others seek you out?
Yeah. So I'm to help you understand and to prepare my answer a little better, I'm going to wind it back a little bit and say that the whole work-life balance importance is not necessarily something I have always fully understood. I have learned this, okay? As most great things that we are able to go and share, we had to learn the hard way first, okay? Yeah. As I shared, am naturally very competitive and super driven, and often to a fault of where I will put it first, and everything else can figure itself out. And I have learned the hard way that it's not productive. If you can go and chase all of the success in the world, and if your foundations are not set well, and you are not putting the right things first, what does it matter? Like, what does it matter? I think it's detrimental. And so, yeah, just through becoming a mother and learning to be a good wife, my husband has helped me so much in this and held me accountable. And the truth is, and I've shared this from stage before, we've had a very raw moment in our relationship when the girls were young, and man, they were not just young, they are only 14 months apart, and my parents live here. I lived in Dallas. Oscar's parents also were not local, and they had a lot of health challenges when we were young, and I was in total business growth mode, where he sat me down. Actually, he didn't sit me down. I remember it very clearly because we were standing in the kitchen and said, what are you going to pick? Like, what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose us, or are you going to choose to grow your business? I heard that as the black and white, you can choose only one, and I was not ready to choose only one, so I decided right then and there has to be a way. Obviously I'm going to choose my family, but I am not going to let that come at the cost of not growing a business. I really believe that we can do both, and we can do both well. And from there, I hired a coach. I think that, because I knew I was at a point where I needed to hire somebody to help. I could not do this all on my own, and I had no idea, truly, how to hire somebody and how to do that well. We hear the phrase often, you're a product of your environment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But that environment doesn't just happen upon you. I think that we're a product of the environment that we choose. You have a choice in who you want to surround yourself with and where you want to go. Who do you want to be? And so I chose to surround myself by people who have done this, who have built big businesses, continued to grow them without sacrificing what's most important to them, sacrificing their family, sacrificing their faith. I really believe you can do both, and that if you want greatness, you just choose it. It is literally a choice that anybody can make.
Right, right. No, I love that you surround yourself with who you want to be. You choose your environment. Oftentimes, we think, well, we're here, we just have to be here. I don't get along with these people, and I don't really want to do this. But you do have a choice, and it's hard sometimes to make that choice. So how do you balance that, or how do you even coach and mentor your people to say, how do you get out and be bold enough to make that choice? What do you have to do to make that choice?
You have to ask for help. You have to surround yourself with people who want to help you, are willing to help you, and can help you. Whether that be people who are further ahead of you, right? Like my choice to hire a coach, help and tell me how to do this, or people that you need to hire to come in and help and support you so that you can live a more balanced life. And that takes a lot of self-sharpening and refining to be able to hire people and trust them with the business that you have developed, right? With the clients that you're bringing in, and to not be in control of all of it. And so I think it's still surrounding yourself with the right people, and you're choosing who do you want to follow and who do you want to lead.
So, okay, I'm just going to highlight two things that she just said. You have to ask for help. How many of you find it easy to ask for help? It is difficult. It is difficult. And to be able to train yourself to ask for help,
and I would follow up with this. Why do we think it's difficult to ask for help? Tell me why. What is it in us that makes it difficult to ask for help?
Anybody want to shout anything out? I've got some ideas. Pride. What else? You don't. We need to do it all. Women do it all. There's something out there that you think you're weak.
Yes.
If you ask for help.
And so that takes a humility, a humbleness, humbling yourself and realizing you actually cannot do it all. Andy cannot run this school by himself.
Correct.
There is no possible way that UND would be what it was if he didn't have an incredible team of people to lead.
Yes.
You cannot do it all yourself. But I think the not asking sometimes, we let that get in the way because of our own pride.
Yes.
And if we can humble ourselves and ask for help, you can go a whole lot further than you could ever go on your own.
And you know what I think we can all do too, because we all have just agreed that it's very hard to ask for help, that when somebody you're with asks for help, you say, good job, great job.
Yes.
Look at how you're growing. You asked for help. Yes, we will find that help for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So how now do you continue to balance this business success with your family, with your faith, which I know is very important, and giving back? So those are four big buckets, Brianna. How do you balance all of that?
They are. So what is the title of this luncheon? The Women for Philanthropy?
Yes.
Yes. So philanthropy, I want you to think about, what does the word philanthropy mean? What does it mean to you? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think the word philanthropy? Is it giving away money? Maybe. I think for most people it is. But if we look at the root of the word philanthropy, okay? Philo is Greek for love. So it starts with love. Philanthropy, anthropol is humanity. So philanthropy means the love of humanity, okay? And I believe that we are all image bearers of God, and God loves humanity, right? That's why he created us. And we are his image bearer. And so we are called to also love the humanity that he has created and that he loves. And that can look like so many different things. That can look like saying yes and standing on a stage to be able to just share with people, to possibly, hopefully inspire them to look inside themselves and see how they can be more philanthropic. How can they be more loving to others, right? So I think that it ties perfectly into my faith. I'm called to be philanthropic because of my faith, and that leads and guides so many things. So remind me of what your question was, because I think there was a specific
I don't know,
part
but
that I might not have
I'm
answered.
just enjoying this. I'm like, if you only take two things away, ask for help. Philanthropy is not scary. It's the love of humanity. I'm like, okay, we're done. No, but no. How do you take all of that? But you're just saying it all just comes naturally when you have that as your base with your family, your business, your faith.
Yeah, when the foundation is right, that's what should overflow from us. And so I believe that my business has been successful because I'm just obeying step by step. I'm putting my head down and step by step, and I look up and all of a sudden, oh wow, I went really far. I was just taking it one step at a time and being diligent with the work in front of me, not looking up and comparing, just head down, work. And I look up and, I had no idea that I ran so much further.
Yes.
And so I lost my train of thought. I got so deep into that. Why did you?
I think it's perfect.
Okay. So I remember where I was going. Okay. So just being so focused step by step on what I'm doing and being obedient to what has been set before me, my business has grown, and because of my business growing, my influence has grown, and it is just the natural step to be open and to share that and to steward that well, and hopefully influencing others to do the same.
Yeah, beautiful. So I'm going to go back to how we started even. Okay, so you talked about sales is about building relationships and solving problems.
Yes.
I like that, building relationships and solving problems. How does that philosophy guide your work today? What you learned at selling power tools so many years ago?
Yeah. Well, philanthropy is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Sales and philanthropy are very
Absolutely.
similar. Philanthropy is building relationships, leveraging those relationships for the greater good of humanity, whether that be writing checks for it or making introductions, right? We're staying at the Canada Inn right now, and there's so many pictures everywhere throughout the hotel of Grand Forks in its early days. And I love stopping and looking at them, and I kept thinking, man, Grand Forks is here and has continued to thrive and has amazing things like the University of North Dakota, because a few good people, not a few good men, a few good people stood up and said, I want to give of my time, my talents, my treasures to make this something. We need to band together, network, leverage our connections. Maybe I need to introduce you to you because you can make something great of that. And so all of that is philanthropy. And yes, similar to sales, we are building relationships and solving problems, whether that be a problem of, I don't know, there's so many different problems that philanthropists are searching to help solve.
Right. And I love you tie in, you could be sitting in some of our our meetings when we talk about time, talent, and treasure, it's not just about the money and that relationship piece. And so it makes me reflect on the founding of this university and the starting of the Alumni Association, the first 8 graduates saying they wanted to stay connected to each other, stay connected to their alma mater. But within the first, it was less than 10 years, my friend Peter would know, I think it was 7 years into the history of the university, or after that class, the university just about closed down because the state wasn't going to fund this university anymore. And there was a group that came together of those who had some money to give, but it was also about the faculty here. They cut their pay or wouldn't work because they believed so much in what this university could bring. And it was all of them banding back together. And that's really the history of our organization, this university. It's those relationship-based and how you can give in many different ways.
Yes.
So speaking of give, because my team is going to be watching me here, and they're going to be saying, hey, you got to move it along. Where does the give it all away motto come from? We got to get to that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where does that come from?
It's not something I made myself. It is a motto that I have adopted. I told you, I mentioned several times that I have hired coaches, people who are ahead of me. Show me how to get here. Give me the blueprint and show me what to do so that I can get there faster. I don't want to recreate a wheel because the wheel has already been created. I just want to learn how to build that wheel. And the give it all away motto is from one of my coaches. His name is Ben Wilson, and that's his life motto. He says, hey, anything that I have of value, I want to give it away. That I want to leave a legacy, whether that be wisdom that I've learned, or influence that I have, or money that I've received. At the end of the day, I don't want to have held up any of it for myself. I want it to be out, multiplying, working. Because if I just hired him as a coach and he taught me all of these great things, and sure, I put it into play and I grew my business and I was a better wife and a better mom, but I just left it there, it would be like a dead-end road.
Yeah.
And so if I'm generous with it, it's going to multiply to no tomorrow. If I can share with somebody else what I've learned, hey, this is how we run a real estate business without buying leads. This is how we run a real estate business and set boundaries with our clients, something that is so incredibly hard in our industry. You don't have to work all night. You don't have to work every weekend. You can live a pretty normal life if you do it right. Let me show you how. And you can continue growing and have even higher income after setting those boundaries. It's like mind-boggling in our industry that is possible. If I were just to let that sit with me and not share it, I think that would be pretty selfish of me. And so give it all away is anything I have of value. If that's the knowledge, the experience, share it and it will multiply.
I love the fact that because I'm sure when we said give it all away, many of you just thought monetarily. But giving away your knowledge, your information, helping others grow, do you ever think of that as that's a way to give it all away, to help multiply? I don't think we often do. And it's so important. That's a great lesson for all of us to learn, to share those stories and what we have learned.
Yeah.
So what role does your faith play in really your approach to this generosity and leadership base that you have developed?
It plays the role. I mean, it is everything. I think it's why I'm here today. I think it's what attracted you to me to say, I want you to come share with everybody else, because I've just chosen to be diligent and obedient. And I think that God has led me down a path where he wants me to be able to share that with others. And so God is generous with us. I want to be, again, a reflection of him and be generous with others. We choose to live our life very open-handedly, right? None of this is ours. It's not mine. Even this opportunity, like, this is not for me. If you live open-handedly, I've found that God honors that and has blessed it more. He has he can entrust that I will steward well the gifts that he has given. And so he has chosen to give.
It's beautiful, beautiful. So I know one of the areas you and Oscar have chosen to give and spent a lot of time with is through the Children's Miracle Network. And tell our guests today why that cause is so close to your heart.
Yes, so Grace and Eva here in the front row, I mentioned them earlier. When they were itty-bitty babies, man, we had a lot going on. We had a lot going on. I did not yet have any employees. I was running my business on my own, and they had they both had significant health challenges that were different from each other. So one of them was getting test after test in the hospital, while the other one was getting therapy after therapy in the hospital, and it was a refining moment for sure. It was challenging and it was hard. And through RE/MAX, I've had the opportunity to make it honestly really easy to give back to Children's Miracle Network. So with every single house that I sell, a portion of that is given to Children's Miracle Network. And I've seen, so that money stays with local hospitals. So for me, it's going to the Children's Hospital in Dallas, which is where they were going for all their therapies and tests before I ever even started giving to them. So I've seen them do things excellent in a very excellent manner. I knew firsthand as patients with Children's Hospital that they were doing everything with excellence. And so happy to give back and support in that way. And we call upon our clients to do the same. And so not only do we give with each transaction, but each year we also do some sort of drive to include our clients and challenging them to give to children's as well.
Absolutely. So when Brianna was talking with our team a while ago, and we were very inspired by her motto of give it all away. So you see at your table places this little card. Our organization has given a $10 donation to Children's Medical Network on behalf of everyone who is here today, in honor of Brianna and Oscar's work with that organization.
Thank you for
thank
that.
you for
Thank
inspiring
you so
us. So you and your husband have what you call a big, audacious goal, or we could say the BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. Tell us what it is and what drives that goal, Brianna.
Yes, okay. I told Deanna, I said, man, I have shared this once before publicly, but it wasn't in the Midwest, and it feels a little different sharing such a goal in the Midwest than in the South. So I'm going to start with what is a big, audacious goal. If I haven't already mentioned, I'm super driven and super competitive, right? Which means that when I am working, like I am in the grind and I am working, and man, my business has gone much further than I ever even considered. Like this is way further than I ever dreamt it would be. My dreams weren't big enough, I will tell you that. And so what we've learned is you need to set bigger dreams and bigger goals to be able to push yourself further. Otherwise, a personality like mine could get burnt out because we go, 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 go. And if the dreams aren't big enough, then what are we going for, okay? So if we set a dream that is so wild and crazy, it sounds absolutely impossible, somebody like me, that keeps me going, right? It's like, that might happen in 5 lifetimes, or when pigs fly, that might happen. But for my personality, that keeps me going, and it pushes me to think outside the box. How on earth am I going to get there in this lifetime? And so 100% inspired by my husband, Oscar, our big, audacious goal, let me remind you, this is like, how are we going to get there in this lifetime, is to be able to give away $100 million, which sounds wild. But how are we going to get there? We have to think really big to understand how we could possibly get there. So let's go.
Thank you for sharing your big audacious goal. So a last question, because I know this has gone way too quickly, but we often talk about, and one of the values of having this lunch is how we talk about philanthropy with our family and our friends. So a two-part question to wrap us up today. What insights would you give us in how we can have those conversations? And how are you having these conversations with your daughters, and what is their involvement in philanthropy as part of this family?
Yeah. I think, so again, part of the culture in the Midwest is money or generosity are maybe not something that we talk about openly and freely. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, that's a choice that we make. We talk about leadership. What does leadership mean? You're going first. To lead, if you're going to lead, you go first. So you go first, Deanna. You tell other people your big, audacious goal. You share with them and inspire them. Be vulnerable in that spot. And vulnerability is leadership. And so I think it's important to just be open and talk about, and especially those who are closest to you. Should be in full support and be able to be vulnerable and share back with you. As far as my girls, we have, as you know, being entrepreneurial, and coming from an entrepreneurial family, my biggest hopes and dreams are that they become entrepreneurs someday. And we've decided that each summer we want to help them and empower them to start a different business each summer. And so we are 2 years into that. Last summer, it was a lemonade stand, right? There are so many lessons to learn in a lemonade stand. We decided, are we going to do cheap ingredients or are we doing organic ingredients? And what does this mean? How are we going to price our lemonade? What are we going to do to get customers? How are we going to promote and market this lemonade stand? At the end of the day, when the lemonade stand was over, reviewing the numbers. What was our revenue, right? Like pulling back to my entrepreneurship classes at UND. What was our revenue? What were our cost of goods sold? Mommy, what are cost of goods sold? Well, we went to the grocery store and we bought lemons and we bought sugar and we had to buy a table and a tablecloth and a sign. Everything that we used were part of our cost of goods sold. And so our revenue minus our cost of goods sold, that was our profit. How much did we profit? Okay. Now, will you pay back the loan from mommy and daddy that we use to invest into your business? And a portion of your profits is to reinvest into your business so we can have the lemonade stand another day, because you're going to need to go back to the grocery store to get more ingredients. A portion is for you to invest and keep for it to grow. A portion will be for you to use and spend and buy the new sneakers that you've been wanting. Or right now, they also have a big audacious goal, and that is to buy a drone. They want to buy a drone. So we got to do a few lemonade stands to get to a drone. And then a portion of this is to give away and to share with others that have a need. And then this summer, their business was with very low involvement on our end now. These are their own ideas and on their own accord. They made an origami business where they folded a few different options of origami, created an order sheet, went around to their summer camps and sold like crazy. Grace even enlisted the help of a friend to help her with her sales and to get more sales. They come home and build out their origami and fulfill their orders all night, wake up early to fulfill more orders until they realize we need to enlist more help and hire some friends to meet the demands of the origami business that we've created. And so they're learning, our hope and goal is to show them from a young age that you can do this. And look, we can take a little bit of money, the origami paper was $9.99 on Amazon, and turn it into something more. And what do we do with that is really important.
That's fantastic. So President Armacost, Dean O'Neill, scholarships in entrepreneurship. Get these young women up here. This is where they're coming. So, well, Brianna, our time is out. It's gone so fast, but we really thank you for sharing your story, your heart, your vision, your big audacious goal with us today. I think her journey reminds all of us that generosity is really a way of living. It's a choice you make every day. It's about showing up. It's about lifting others up and being generous with our knowledge and our talents. It's not just about the money. It's what else can you be generous with? So let's give another round of applause to Brianna Castillo. Thank you.
Oh.